So with that, I'd like to gather your attention as you finish your meals and continue to enjoy. We're going to have a very special next 30 minutes that's going to take us on a whirlwind of technology. It's going to expose your thoughts as to how the mind of Israel-facing companies are able to bring technology that is nascent or has not been done before, build new companies, open new markets, drive revenue, create jobs. And it's all happening here today at the Israel Conference in Los Angeles, where we bring Israel local. So with that, I'd like to ask you to face the center of our stage. And may I grab your attention now? As we've been thinking about our technology, I'd like you to all, if you're in the room, to slow your conversations down for just a minute as we take you into our next panel. May I have your attention, please? Thank you. I'm bringing up to the panel now, thank you, some very special folks, and I want you to know that we're here in Los Angeles, and we have people here who have come from New York City via Israel to join us today. Can I have a round of applause for our next session? This session is called Fast and Cool, where we have 4 fantastic companies and a special surprise. I'd like to introduce our moderator for the panel is Jeff Pulver. Jeff is an icon in technology. He's a thought leader. He is an anthologist of the technological scene here in the United States, in Israel, and around the world. We are extremely fortunate to have this caliber of thinking to guide us through a series of companies that are going to blow our minds as we learn about the magic that comes out of Israel-facing companies. And with that, Jeff, thank you very much.
My pleasure. Is the mic up? Hello? Yes, mic up. Okay, good. Good afternoon, and thank you for the wonderful introduction. So for the next half hour, we hope to entertain you a little bit. The people who are about to present are folks who are involved with some pretty interesting startups. And I totally screwed up the presentations for them because everyone came here with a canned PowerPoint pitch to come up and take 5 minutes and talk about their companies. And I said, you know what? You're humans. And I basically, 3 seconds ago, I told the people, what you should do is talk about the inspiration behind your startup, talk a little bit about why you're here, share something about yourself that people just don't know, and give everyone a chance to actually have that moment in time to connect with the audience. And I feel, because so often we're here, we listen to presentations, we try to be engaged, but our minds are elsewhere. And I thought that given the opportunity and the amazing people in the audience today, I wanted everyone here to have that opportunity to connect. And so I apologize in advance if anyone here seems slightly out of sync, but it's my doing. But I wouldn't know it any other way. So without any introduction whatsoever, I'd like to have Alon come up, at least start talking and share your mic up.
Is it? Can you hear me? Okay.
Oh, bring it up a little bit, I think.
Okay.
So these are all companies, by the way, which first of all, I want to congratulate everyone who was involved in the startup today. Because these are very interesting times, and there's no definite guarantee where we're going to go, where things happen. But to have the courage to be a disruptor and to have the courage to actually be involved and challenge the status quo is something which I really embrace. And I really congratulate everyone who's involved with a startup ever, but particularly the folks that are in today's marketplace trying to make a mark on the world. So it's a very good place to be. Anyway, go ahead. It's all yours.
Well, thank you very much, Jeff. First of all, I want to thank Sharona for 2 things. One, of course, for inviting us here. And the second is not putting me after Yossi Vardi. That would be a pretty hard to follow event. Quick about me. I came to the US. I was working in Israel at a company called Amdocs. It was called Orek back in the days. And I met this guy, and he said, okay, come work with me in Israel, in LA. And I told my wife, we'll go 2-3 years, just make some money, come back to Israel. Because that was 12 years ago, after 3 children and 2 startups, and here I am here, talking about DocSock, my latest startup. So, is the presentation on? Probably not.
It might be.
Probably not. So in any case, which is good because last time I was on stage was in TechCrunch 40 about 2 years ago when the laptop crashed and there was no internet. So I actually thank Sharona for suggesting me to have it as a presentation. Which,
so what does your startup do?
So the startup DocStock is all about documents. Really. DocStock is the largest repository of publicly available documents in legal, business, financial, technology, education, and many other fields. So one of our really challenges in DocStock is, unlike a YouTube type website or a Flickr type, business documents and legal forms is just not interesting, right? Here we go. So again, as I mentioned, this Premier document, we provide really a platform for people to upload and share the documents. So anytime that you want to promote yourself, either you build a website or you can just upload them to DocStock. And through our SEO engine, we promote people, and you can find yourself. People can find their content.
So what's a typical application? What's a typical user?
So it can be anyone that has a small business, anyone who wants to promote themselves, their business there. That could be a sole proprietary or a consultant, really anyone. So that's from the people who want to contribute. But again, it's really geared towards the consumers who wants to find a document. So really quickly, that's how it looks. And just skip forward. Really, what is our goal? Our goal is really to index all of the world's documents. Simple as that, right? It's the largest repository of productivity documents. So anything you need from a form or a template. We are really trying to bridge between people who have the information and people that need the information. It's like any other slogans, there's always comparing us to like YouTube for documents and others. My personal one is, oops, another direction, is that we are, DocStock for documents is like Google for web pages. That's really what we are. Our goal is to become the largest repository of documents. From a technology standpoint, we created all kinds of things. So we have a major challenge at indexing all of these millions and millions and millions of documents.
Are these public pages or are these all private?
These are all public.
So if I upload a document, then the whole world could actually discover it.
You can upload as private as well if you want to share it within your group or some people, or you can upload as public if you want everyone to see them.
Have you uploaded any historic documents to share with the world that you've discovered?
Yeah, you can upload whatever. One of our major advances is that you can actually view these documents on the site. You don't have to download any documents. So that's unlike go to a site that have just a directory. When you click, you download something full of viruses. Here you can actually view them on the site. You can embed these documents of the site, and that's being done by Wall Street Journal. It's being done by Huffington Post, TechCrunch, and many others, other companies. As I mentioned, you can store it online, so we're really a repository for your personal documents, and I'll talk in a second about our sync capability, which allows you to synchronize all the documents into that repository. SEO, that's one of our major things. We actually implemented every trick in the book and wrote some new tricks in the book of how to really push these documents. I mean, many times people come to me and say, hey, people find me, I ranked higher for your document or my profile versus Twitter or Facebook or anything like that, which is good for us and for them. We can actually help people make money from their documents. People ask me all the time, why should I upload documents? Well, you can make money, right? It's not bad. We actually share our ad revenue with your and you upload, the ads revenue goes to you. Really quickly, Open API and some statistics, 5.5 million unique visitors a month, 16 million page views, currently 6 million documents and growing at a rapid rate. We're currently generating revenue, started at November of 2007. Angel investors, VC investment is Rusty Canyon. We are not looking for investments, and all the lawyers who come to me, we already have a legal firm. So we're covered with the legal stuff. So I think my time is over, so thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, Oded, the platform is yours.
Thank you. So personal story. I grew up as a geek. I was making money programming by age of 15 for Kupat Cholim and Cobalt punch cards. And then I went to the Army. I wanted to go to Technion. I ended up being a fighter pilot, and I helped the Air Force do war game simulation. And I was next to the generals of the Army as the war game simulations were going on, and I knew what data was in a system, and I saw what kinds of decisions that they're making. And as a young hotshot technologist, it blew me away and gave me a lot of humility, understanding that computers are really good at data and not really good at information. And that understanding has been all of my professional career in in how to use technology to really benefit people. So this kind of leads into social approach. So social media ad spend is going to grow 34% in the next 5 years, year over year. Got my attention. Oh, sorry, I have a phone call. Oh, it's my lawyer. So it really dictates a new approach, a social approach. It also dictates a different business model, which is performance marketing. We perform, we get paid, and the good news is there's no cap on earning. So that's what we do. We map the social web using our technology to help brands find their customers online, bring them back to the brand, and generate sales. And it's working. So in our first year with early technology, we've signed marquee customers, including General Electric, and we're well on our way to making $725,000 this year as a bootstrap, which is not bad.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So peel the onion one layer deeper, like Shrek would say. As customers move more and more online, marketers face a problem where it's more and more difficult to actually find these customers. And the challenge is, how do you actually engage with them? Now, especially in a situation where people trust what other people say more than they trust what the brand says, and the social web, and really the real-time web, is becoming increasingly important on what shapes people's opinion, and the problem is that. Too much noise, too much clutter. How do you find people? How do you engage with them? So our solution is a three-step process: discover, then build, then activate. So first we map the web, or how information travels through the web. Let's call it the viral path. During that process, using our technology, we identify key influencers, the people that for that brand are responsible of transmitting that information to other people. During that process, we assess the size and network reach of their influence. Then we give them tools. Toolbars, widgets, promo codes, all discovered to help them build what's really important to them, their reputation on the web. And then we engage that audience. We keep them updated with information that's relevant and valuable for them, that we know they value, all to create a community. That community around the brand gives credibility to the brand. All of that activity generates traffic, that generates traffic sales, and that sales drive our performance.
So Oded, so from having an idea for the company to where you are now, what assumptions have been broken and which actually have been confirmed about the social web?
When I started, I really thought that the solution is in the social web, and what I really discovered, back to that clutter diagram I showed earlier, is fish where they fish. So it's not about creating yet another social community that you attract people to, is understanding that what Twitter does is really creates this real-time web. And what the real-time web is not another community, it's a social consciousness. If you understand that social consciousness, it will actually tell you in a crowd wisdom way what things you need to pay attention to, what are things that are actually emerging, and if you can pay attention to that, you can change how brand marketing is not only done, but how products will be developed in the future. So this is the third company that I do. The second one is actually Scott Painter. I'm one of my co-founders at Zag, who is hosting this event, or sponsor for this event. We use this pattern recognition technology to really, instead of having 30% down in the car market, Zag is growing 10% month over month using this pattern recognition technology. And I'll say this, it's a lot like virality. Virality, think of it as how information actually moves around the web. So it's a lot like lightning, which is why there's lightning on the screen. It starts with a little charge, like a blog post. Then it starts quickly traveling around with tweets, blog links, retweets, and then poof, it's gone. Now, if you can record and map that, then you understand how information travels, or who are the repeaters that are likely to repeat that event. You can recreate lightning at will. That's pretty cool.
Very nice.
So how we do this, we map the brand general audience, then we go all the way to the deepest level of understanding everything about a particular, you want me to stop? I'll stop.
Well, yeah.
Find a particular influencer, and I'll just drop to this. At the end of the day, it's all about engaging a community, understanding how that community affects back the brand, drive that traffic back into the brand, generate sales, and we get on performance
And what's
marketing.
the URL?
Sorry?
URL for the company? www what?
Socialapproach.com.
Thank you very much. Thanks a
Thank
lot. So our next presenter actually is, we're about to introduce, is someone who took issue recently, the last few years, Al Gore particularly, but many people have been talking about the effects of global warming. And a friend of mine believes actually the focus should not necessarily be about global warming, but something much more important to the future of humanity. And with this, I'd like to bring to the stage Yossi Vardi. As he comes forward.
Nice.
You may ask why on this day
You may.
Exactly. Well, that's our mazal.
It's not Passover because maybe you got me 4 times. Can I get the help of the AV people? Just a minute. Okay, as this is not business, this is social good, and we will take 6 minutes of your time to share with you a personal crusade which I'm doing. And I'm very disturbed by the fact how Al Gore is defocusing the world, and I want to share with you the real issue. You must excuse me just 1 minute. Pardon? Let me just see which is the. We are going to talk today about the sequel of Inconvenient Truth. It's time again to talk about inconvenient truth, a truth that everyone is concerned about, but nobody is willing to talk about. Somebody has to take the lead, and I decided to do it. If you are scared by global warming, wait until you will learn about local warming. We will talk today about local warming. Important health message. Blogging may be hazardous to your health, especially if you are a male. This message is given as a public service. Blogging affects your posture. We start with the posture. This is the posture of ladies who are not blogging. This is the posture of ladies who are blogging. This is the natural posture of a man sitting squatting for ventilation purposes. And this is the natural posture of a standing man, and I think this picture inspired Chris to insert me into the lateral thinking session. This is male blogging posture sitting, and the result is, for greater comfort, men naturally sit with their legs farther apart than women. When working on laptop, however, they will adopt a less natural posture in order to balance it on their laps, which result in a significant rise of body heat between their thighs. This is the issue of local warming. This is a very serious newspaper. It's Times of England, very serious. This is a very, gentlemen and ladies, be serious. This is a very serious research that you should read the underline. And be careful, your genes are in danger. Will geeks become endangered species? The fact population growth in countries with high laptop. I need Hans Rosling to give me a graph. Global warming fund. But let's keep things in proportion. How to take care in 5 easy steps. First of all, you can use natural ventilation. You can use body breath. You should stay cool with the appropriate clothing. You should care about your posture. This is not right. Can you extract from Chris another 1.5 minutes for me? Because I have a video I have to show you. You are great. This is the correct posture. Another benefit of Wi-Fi. We learned yesterday about the benefits of Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi enables you to avoid the processor. And there are some enhanced protection measures which I would like to share with you, and I would like in a minute to thank Phillips for helping. This is a research which was done in '86, but it's still valid. Scrotal temperature reflects interracial temperature, and it's lowered by shaving. By the way, I must admit, my English is not so good. I didn't know what is scrotal. I understand it's scrotum. I guess in plural it's scrota, like medium and media. Digital scrotum, digital media. And only last year I recognized that I'm a proud scrotum owner. And this research is being dissipated by the US government, so you can see that your tax money is working for good causes.
The Phillips Body Groom has a sleek, ergonomic design for a safe and easy way to trim those scruffy underarm hairs. The untidy curls on and around your as well as the hard-to-reach locks on the underside of your
Once you use the Body Groom, the world looks different. And so does your
these days. With a hair-free back, well-groomed shoulders, and an extra optical inch on my well, let's just say life has gotten pretty darn cozy.
This is one of the most popular viral advertisements of last year, known as the optical inch by Phillips. Let's applaud Phillips for this gesture for humanity. And this is the ad they are promoting the product. This is, I didn't touch it, this is original. Laptop used to solve overpopulation. And if everything failed, there are some secondary uses for and our next talk in next TED, if he invites me, will be why you should not carry a cell phone in your pocket. And this is what the young generation says. And I just want to show you that I'm not just preaching, but I also practice. 4 a.m. in the morning. You cannot use this picture. Now, I have some mini TED prices. This is the Phillips Body Groom, one for our leader. Anybody feels threatened? Anybody really need it? Any lady? Any lady? Thank you very much.
Thank you, and be very careful when you are blogging.
Thank you, Yossi.
And just let you know, this afternoon, we have some of this, not this technology, but cosmetic enhancement technology that's coming out of Israel on a Medical Miracles panel. So it's a great intro to that. Wow. Back to you, Jeff.
Whoa, okay.
One more thing. I do hope that Yossi will upload his presentation to a Docs where everyone can see it. So I'll catch him after and make sure it's there.
Fair enough. Aaron, now it's all yours.
Oh, I'm next. Okay. Okay. So I'm relatively new to my company. It was founded by Arel Margalit, who's the managing director at Jerusalem Venture Partners, and Nikki Schulhoff, who was the chief executive of
Oh, they couldn't hear you.
Nobody ever says louder to me. I love that. This is the first time I've run an Israeli company. I've run several other internet companies. And I found myself, the last company I ran was called Menu Pages. Some of you may know. And I found myself thinking about what I wanted to do next. And it reminded me of this time in my life before almost I'd ever set foot in New York. People would say, so, when are you going to move back to New York? And that's kind of why I moved there, because I was supposed to be from there. And
Where are you from?
And I'm from Washington, D.C., but now I'm from New York. And I realized that something was gnawing at me, which is that I really had so many, missed opportunities to work with some Israeli companies, and that is what I wanted to do next. So I just went over and started hanging out with people. And Jeff was one of those people I hung out with and networked with. And long story short, I met Arel Margalit among some other people and found out he was the guy doing media in Israel, and I do media. And I took over a company called, what was then called Pop Talk. But let me talk to you about the new company, which we've renamed because it has a very different purpose. And what we're trying to do at AnyClip, and I guess since I have the slides up there, I will use them. The company is called AnyClip. And what we're trying to do at AnyClip is assemble, and I'll say this one time kind of slowly, every single movie that has ever been made, ever, in every language, and put them all in the cloud in a database so that you can find, and then we layer in some metadata, largely from the script.
So licensed? Or
all licensed.
No bootleg.
We'll come to that. And what we want you to be able to do is relive any movie moment you can think of ever. You remember a line from a movie, like in my case, Spinal Tap, which is a really key film in my life. This one goes to 11. Some of you may remember, or other really, fantastic lines, and you find it instantly. This is the promise of AnyClip.
Are you sharing these moments?
And you get to share these moments. Now, the trick to this, the trick to this is doing it in a way that lets people get paid. That happens to be particularly important.
The people who are sharing the moments, the people who own the content.
The people who own the content, because what's going on right now is there are some 20 billion movie clips shown on YouTube internationally alone, domestic and internationally, and the content owners get zero for that. So the reason they get zero is all those clips are uploaded illegally. And we believe that for the movie industry to thrive, we have to find a way to share these things legally. And we have to make a compelling user experience for that. So what we're doing is developing this database not just for our own use, but for the use of everybody who needs movie clips. The kind of philosophy behind AnyClip is that there are so many brilliant application developers, as we've seen, Jeff, with Twitter, with Facebook, as we've seen with MySpace, and as we've seen with YouTube. And there's a lot of companies who need these clips legally as well, like YouTube and Flickster and a variety of others. So we believe that there's already a clip economy that's formed, or a clip world that's formed, a consumption pattern. And now we're going to go about making that legally. I'll just conclude by saying, when I took this job, I had this idea for changing Pop Talk to AnyClip. And at the time I thought, this is really going to be hard. This is really going to be hard.
Is it hard?
Yeah, and I've never thought that before. Usually I'm like, oh, this is definitely going to work. And then 2 years into it, I'm like, whoa, what was I thinking? We have to go this way. That's the entrepreneurial ride. But recently I came from Sde Boker, where the JVP folks had us go to visit Ben Gurion's grave. And I definitely have caught this sort of real passion for the idea that if Ben Gurion can form a country, maybe I can make a database full of every movie in the world.
Well, good luck.
We'll see how that goes, and I'll try to come back in future years.
Thank you. And Chris, this makes it your turn. From the slightly unstartup, but I guess there's something truly innovative coming out of Checkpoint.
Just trying to mix things up here, I guess. Can everyone hear me okay? Yes, too good.
Bring up the mic, maybe they...
Okay. I'm just gonna hold that here. So, by the way, that's something that my friends and everyone I know is going to like. I don't know about everyone else, but they do. And lines, right? And lines lead to the clips, so that's good to know. So, unfortunately,
you're next, Johnny.
What we do is not as much fun. But
what do you do?
So, what do we do? So, you've heard that saying, I didn't invent the rainy day, I just try to provide an umbrella. So it's kind of down. The good news is that you can make money from providing umbrellas. And other companies can help contribute to us producing umbrellas, right? So the first thing, if many may be aware of Checkpoint and what we do, but in case you didn't, I mean, we do many things involving information security. But first I wanted to just take a quick poll, because it affects what we do and what we provide to the market, is how many people have received a letter from a credit card company, from the university you went to school from, letting you know that your account number had been stolen, or something about your personal information? Just a quick show of hands. Okay. Yeah, most people in California, because most of the universities around here have experienced that, and on a daily basis. It used to be just geeks that paid attention to things like technology and specifically security, and now it's water cooler talk, because it's affecting, as we just saw from the poll, many people. So what we're doing is security is very dynamic. We've been in the information age for a long time now, so more and more of what we do, whether it be interacting with a bank or interacting socially on the web, or checking out clips from our favorite movies, we're doing this over the internet and over public networks, as it were. So we're helping to secure that. It's very dynamic, as I mentioned. I'll give you an example. It used to be that what we started out with as a company was firewalls, and it's like a car alarm. People would just go to the car that didn't have a car alarm and have the opportunity. But that's changed. Now everyone has a car alarm, and now it takes all kinds of layers of security, which is kind of an unsustainable model. So one of the things we're trying to do is simplify how to respond to these changes and what it takes to secure communications and whatnot. I'll give you an example. Hackers are getting so sophisticated. It used to be for fun, and now it's for profit. That's a very big change that we've seen in the security market. In fact, there are hackers now that accept PayPal as payments for the tools to get around the existing security tools that are available, and you can buy it in levels and buy technical support also. So the sophistication, as you can see, is getting much different. And that's good news, like I said, for the folks making umbrellas. So our job
the umbrella
is
business
constantly
is good.
challenging. Yes, it is, and even in this current economic environment, I read, I think it was IDC came out and said that security, besides keeping the lights on for all these companies, security is one of those things that has risen to the top in the area of risk management, so you can keep running your company until things get better. So that's kind of a quick overview. But we're, as I mentioned with the examples I gave you, we continually try to develop technologies to help address those security requirements and protect all of your information. So these companies you see in the press releases that are losing your information, we need to get in touch with them. We need to reach out to them and work a little harder to try to help folks out. So why don't you kick off the first one? I just want to give you a demonstration.
In this scenario, we will see how attackers target an organization's networked resources and how Check Point protects against such attacks. Brute force attacks obtain credentials by attempting combinations of usernames and passwords to access protected systems. Buffer overflow attacks send malicious input streams that cause memory overflows that crash servers and systems. SQL injection attacks execute malicious SQL commands that cause servers to reveal confidential information. This method can also be used to modify databases and information. Let's look at the organization after deploying the Check Point Unified Architecture and how it protects the organization from the same attacks. First, let's update our gateways with the latest Smart Defense Service update. Using Provider 1 Central Management, we download updates, and using the same console, we then install the update on all of the managed Check Point products. Protections are in place, and systems are up to date. Let's see the result of the attacks now. Check Point Smart Defense Protection identifies and blocks the brute force and FTP buffer overflow attacks. Check Point IPS1 Protection identifies and blocks the web application attacks. Aventia Analyzer reviews logs and identifies the attacks. It displays alert messages and sends emails containing the required information to the administrator. Eventia also saves the event information for reporting purposes.
But you didn't show any umbrellas.
There
no
are
umbrellas there. You said you were in the umbrella business.
Those are umbrellas. But anyway, that's fast and cool. So I hope you enjoyed it.
All right. Well, first of all, thank you. And before we wrap this up, are there any pressing questions in the audience for any members on the panel that you'd like to ask? In the middle, just stand up and identify yourself and scream.
Obama just announced cybersecurity initiative, and I think the question I have, do we have all the technology and it's just a question of deploying it, or is there need to be a major innovation in the next couple of years in order to provide real cybersecurity?
Yes?
That's a great question. As I mentioned, it's good to be in the business of the umbrella business. It is a measures, countermeasures business. So there is always some kind of lead that the people that are on the wrong side of the equation will gain, and then that needs to be addressed, and it'll happen. It keeps repeating itself. A good example is something called rootkits, if anyone knows what that is. But these are very, very difficult to, first of all, figure out that you have it, because they phone home on back channels that you can't detect. And then they can obviously steal confidential information. Those are very difficult, and there's a lot of smart people, including a lot of Israelis, that are working on that type of problem to remediate it. So it's a cycle.
But it's not a technology question. It doesn't mean it's a question of resource allocation.
You might want to take this outside.
But now that doesn't mean there needs to be a regulatory environment which says that every company needs to have a cybersecurity officer, every government agency needs to have.
Gideon, in the spirit of fast and cool,
We have to
we'll
end.
take that dialogue outside. We
I'll
just
take
want
that
to
up.
see these great technologies and then engage in debate later on.
So thank you. We're going to end the panel.
Well, I think that fast and cool, we had a really fast and very cool time. Thank you to the panel.